Was you a fan of him in this sort of role and the sort of things he was doing with the group in general, Matt?
Well, this was always the weird thing about like this guy for me, because when I started watching it, I had no prior knowledge to what he had done. So what I was seeing was this character of him here, and I wasn't really like taken by him. I wasn't like blown away. But when he joined like the Acolytes, then I thought, well, okay, yeah, this guy's pretty cool, and I like his hard hit style. But then that was like more later kind of his career. I missed out on so much. But this just, it was kind of had a weird vibe to it. This like a whole cult kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I guess maybe I was too young for it at the time, maybe even.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what is interesting. Of course, one thing we've got to point out is that poor old Ron Simmons, when he first came over, my God, they dressed him up in like a Power Ranger uniform. I'm sure you remember that, in that blue stuff and the helmet business going on. Now, of course, this match that we're going to get, this was another big feud. Like we talked about Goldust and Triple H, but this was another one. Ahmed Johnson and Farouk, like they must have feuded for a hell of a long time. Like if you look at all this is going back to the Slammies, like in '96, and the Slammies at this time they were like given around WrestleMania time. So that shows you like how like far back all this went, and you know, and their rivalry against each other, and you know, it was always Ahmed Johnson against the Nation of Domination. I really remember this feud. This was one of those things I used to think this feud was like boxed in, like these two guys never seemed to wrestle anyone else but each other at this point. And Ahmed Johnson for you, Matt, I was always like, this guy, and he looks the business. Like, why is he not going on it? Did you like him as a wrestler, Matt? And sort of many memories of him?
He had the physique, I guess, but it was just, did he have everything else to go with? Did he have the charisma? Did he have like the capability in the ring? I guess like I remember him hugely because he was involved in the WWF Warzone game. You know?
Right, yeah.
I played that a lot as a kid, so I definitely remember that. But yeah, it's like this. I remember him being, like you said, in a feud like this for a long, long time. But again, he was another wrestler that just felt like rather in the mediocre kind of section. There was nothing about him that really screamed that he was like ready to break out. It was kind of like what they did with Bobby Lashley. Like Bobby Lashley, when he was in WWE, he had all the skill and everything, and he looked like he would go like all the way. And to be fair, yeah, he was on that path, and he did do very well in WWE. But something about him, like just there was something there that just held him back, and it needed to go to a different place to actually reach his full potential. Sure.
Well, we're getting a hell of a long, lengthy package here, Matt. Like, I mean, this is one thing I'll say thus far, and I think I'm going to be right in saying, Matt, that when they booked this Royal Rumble, they knew they had to get this many people in. They obviously thought to themselves, right, we better have just like what I was saying earlier. We better have more than just the Royal Rumble to give them. We need to give them some like feuds and some payoff matches, and it's like that's what they've done here. Like some of these matches, looks like it's rather than wait till WrestleMania, that they're sort of doing those payoff matches here to give the fans something for that night to sort of remember. When you see this, Matt, when you see this kind of audience, you'd think, wow, 97, that's big stuff here. You see him coming down like this, but we will get to it, and you will see a dramatic change when we get on to WrestleMania. But all this stuff that they're using, the technical stuff going back there, and as we see Farouk looking worried, and straight to it again, Matt, just like the first match, like a proper heated feud. This was like a typical grudge match that you'd get back then, and another one coming. But these two, similar to Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Goldust, again, because they'd worked with each other a number of times, by this point, the chemistry was all there. Because not only would they have wrestled on TV, but you imagine the amount of house shows that they probably were against each other as well. Like, I suppose that was the benefit of having longer feuds back then, and programs was, by the end of it, you get these great matches that, really pay off somewhat really well. But nowadays, everything, of course, goes so fast, and people, especially in the mid-card section, like it sort of jumps month to month, doesn't it? But here, even if they weren't always feuding with one another, they would have always intertwined with other sort of feuds going on at the same time, which just kind of adds to the whole thing to when you get to this kind of match. But I'm going to be interested to see what I think of Ahmed Johnson now, watching it as an older, of course, like analyst kind of podcast that I do now. Because again, when you watch them now, Matt, you see different things and you're watching for different things. But again, when I was a kid, I certainly would have thought Ahmed Johnson was cool and had the look, and definitely would have been one of my guys. But I liked Farouk as well, nonetheless. Was always into him. As he's doing a bit of cheating going on here a bit.
I can't say I was ever a fan of Ahmed's like ring gear though. It's like it's a bit all over the place.
I think that when later down the line he had all black, I think that he changed it. I think they probably established that, but that's when he would do other things. His running WWF wasn't that long, I suppose, when you think about it either. Have a long stint, but nonetheless.
He reminds me a little bit of Titus O'Neil.
Yeah.
Guess it's the big guy style and the big physique. Something else I've been noticing on this night though is like actual crowd members that bring signs are very rare here now at this point, but that will change dramatically over the course of the year.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean. It's kind of weird where all that came about. I mean, obviously there were definitely crowd signs in this era because of the whole 316 thing would have come up in '96. But I think it was still sort of a rare thing. Like you just wouldn't turn up with a piece of card and write random stuff or random wrestling stuff. Like it was very much either for one person and that's how it was coming across. Maybe it depends where it was. Where it was in the country, I suppose, as well. But the only thing I remember seeing back then was Austin 316. And that, of course, coming after King of the Ring 96. And that looked a bit stiff there between Farouk and Johnson. It's almost like he didn't know that was coming. It still landed on his back. Now, I'm taking it as well, Matt, that this grudge match has to be a no DQ, right? I mean, either that or the referee is doing a bloody poor job.
It's seeming like the theme of the night, actually, this no DQ stuff.
Yeah. So they got a couple of things going on here, and they're really trying to make this work. Whoa.
That could have been nice.
God, blimey.
Yeah.
What did you make of that?
Well, I wouldn't fancy it, but I thought he was going to be on the ribs, but he took it right on the hip. I still reckon that would be quite painful.
Yeah, that looked really awkward, didn't it? It was like laid him on it. Those chair shots look a bit painful as well.
Yeah, this is like a different kind of chair as well at this point. Everything's so different at this point. It looks like they hadn't really figured out the best formula to actually make things look as hard hitting without with taking some of the actual toughness out of it. Like the structure of that chair is a bit stiff, and the tables out there again a bit stiff, and metal guardrails. All these things would change in the space of a year.
Oh, there's Crash on the outside. Crush. Should I say Crush?
Yeah, I guess this was a time in his career when they were like, what do we do with Crush? Stick with a faction?
You're going to be Crush. A different one. You can imagine Vince selling this to him.
Yeah, he's like, can you do something with your hair?
Yeah, we see. And of course, it would have had D'Lo Brown as well. Would have been involved as one of the outside guys. Some of those rappers looking at it. I loved it how those rappers used to get involved sometimes as well. Like they were a legit threat to wrestlers all of a sudden. I see these definitely getting the heat, Farouk. I'll say that much from the audience members, especially on the front row.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely disliked.
Yeah.
I can't exactly remember this feud like all the way, so I'm just trying to think back, like what is he? I know Ahmed's popular at the time, but what has he done that's so bad to him? I think.
Yeah. I think it was. I suppose I should do some reach, but it was. Trying Trying to have a look. Oh, yeah. There was the back end of this was on July 22nd. I mean, this is how far back it went, Matt. Like considering we're in January '97, but July 22nd, '96. Farouk made his debut by attacking Ahmed Johnson in the Intercontinental Championship. He claimed attacked on Johnson because Johnson was not from the streets. There you go. And that's how it all started, just from there. And I mean, that's kind of crazy, isn't it? I mean, you think about it from July. Like, wow. Like, they've really gone to town on that, haven't they? To make it. But yeah, honestly, 96, all I remember these guys doing was literally fighting one another. There was nothing else going on for these guys. So, very strange time.
Yeah, and then what a reason to attack him, because he's not from the streets.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you got to do.
I'm surprised he didn't attack Hunter Hearst Helmsley then.
As we see Farouk holding him up. How about the cool sunglasses there from one of those rappers out there?
Yeah, well, some people say you shouldn't trust anyone with sunglasses indoors. I mean, there's another one of those factions, wasn't it? The Nation. It went through quite a few members, and some of them just really didn't seem like they fitted. Like, I never really understood why Owen Hart was.
Yeah, that got crazy. I didn't understand the reference at that point of the Nation of Domination. Like, I didn't get that at all. But yeah, they'd had a lot of members. I mean, of course, you got to remember The Rock, arguably. One of the biggest stars, used the Nation of Domination to kind of get himself to superstardom in a lot of ways, because we didn't know that side of him until he got in that group. So definitely had it. Liked that off the turnbuckle there. Very massive impact going on. Kind of dodgy that he's wearing earrings like that, but
yeah,
I don't think I'd trust that too much.
Oh, Spinebuster.
I used to always like Farouk's Spinebuster. Like, if anyone done it as hard as him, it used to be Bradshaw's Clothesline and that Spinebuster in the APA. Definitely weren't taking prisoners when they done either of them.
Yeah, I was always a good fan of their tag team, because it was interesting, because like they were definitely both two big guys, big hard hitting guys, and they really pulled off that like big man style. Even though, like, well, I'm going to say they're not the tallest of wrestlers, but they were pretty big.
Very panto just then, but like the Spinebuster from Ahmed Johnson just a second ago. As we see now, everyone interrupts him. I love the way those guys come charging in just to get whacked. It's like they don't realise what's going to happen to them. That rapper guy looks like he missed his cue. No, he's going to go for a Burton there, that's for sure. Whoa! That looked dangerous.
Yeah, I still wouldn't fancy that, even if someone was going to catch me.
Yeah.
So this feud lives to continue another
Yeah,
day.
absolutely. This was going on again, and even though Johnson is catching up with him a bit too quick here, I think. The little guy's just like getting on his back. It was like Farouk doesn't know what he's doing. But get him out of here, quick. This is the way of trying to get it through. So, yeah, this match would come to an end by disqualification. So Ahmed Johnson would get the victory. Of course, the old manager back then in the Nation of Domination, I don't know if you remember Clarence Mason, Matt.
No, I didn't remember him.
Yeah, he managed a few people, but really took a different turn into this group, that's for sure. You see Mike Chioda there, the referee that you still see today. Being very young. Those steps there, Matt, like just to look at them, like you think, crikey, they look like they've been used at every single event possible.
Yeah, I was starting to think, I wonder why, because the amount of times they've been used in this, like, it's only the second match, and they keep getting thrown around.
Yeah. This doesn't look like it's going to go well for this guy.
Pearl River Plunge.